everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to Mystical Munchies, featuring the Star Wars Galactic Baking cookbook. The entree last week, the Fallon Posset cheese stuffed sandwich, turned out to be pretty good. Again, admittedly not the biggest fan of mustard and Swiss cheese in the world, but we're on to the dessert this week, Tatooine Sandies. First up, let's tell the story. Young Anakin would like this type of sandy, a cookie with a rich flavor and a crumbly, fine texture from the combination of butter and chopped nuts. He might have a hard time choosing between white and dark chocolate, but you don't have to. Well, we'll find out how good they are because the ingredients, as usual, are waiting for us at the table, so let's move in that direction. You'll probably hear the oven chirping here. I've got the oven preheating to 350 right now. So, to make this recipe, we're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a cup of pecans, 3/4 of a tablespoon of salted butter at room temperature. It's probably still a little bit cold because I only took it out about half an hour ago. 3/4 of a cup of powdered sugar, a tablespoon of milk, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm using vanilla extract for that. Half a cup of coarse sugar. I'm using granulated sugar for that. Cup each of white and semi-sweet chocolate chips, and 4 teaspoons of vegetable shortening divided. Now let's move into the kitchen and start putting this recipe together. The first official step of the recipe is to line 2 large rimmed baking sheets with parchment paper. I'm pretty sure you guys can figure out line baking sheets with parchment paper. That doesn't seem all that hard to me. But what we are going to do is we're going to bring our medium bowl right here in shot. We're going to take the flour and the pecans and toss them together. So I've got my flour right here. We need 2 cups of flour, which that might be a little bit low, but let's find out. Yeah, I think that's a little low. I'm actually gonna pour in a little more flour before I start scooping out what I need. I probably have enough in there in the grand scheme of things, but I'd rather not take a chance and get surprised. Now let me see if I can make that pour spout a little bit wider. There we go. Okay. Put that back up. And now back to your regularly scheduled flour scooping. 1. That's a heaping 1. So we can probably go a little bit light on 2. That'll work. And there's 2. The flour can go back up. And then we'll take a cup of chopped pecans. I've got my pecan halves right here. They're supposed to be coarsely chopped, but I figure there's not much coarser than hardly bothering with chopping them. Actually, we could probably just do that. The cup can go over toward the dishes because I won't need that I shouldn't need that anymore today, do I? No. I've got all my measuring cups and spoons over there that I need, so we're not going to worry too much about that. The pecans can also go back up. Then we're going to toss this together. Okay. I think that's pretty much all good there. Brushing as much of the flour out into the bowl as I can. Then I'm going to give my hands a quick wash. That can get put aside, so by the time we come back, we'll have the next part of we'll have the next appliance that we need in shot. The ingredient I needed for the first ingredient I needed for this part of the recipe was still a little bit too cold, so I just put it in the microwave for 10 seconds, and that seems to have done the job. So they're saying to beat the butter in a large bowl with a hand mixer at medium-low speed until smooth. But I've got my stand mixer, and I'm damn well going to use it. So now we're going to take the aforementioned butter that I had to heat up for about 10 seconds. The salted butter, by the way. Three-quarters of a cup. There's the oven coming up to 350 temperature. Three-quarters of a cup is a stick and a half of butter, by the way. It is all explained on the wrappers. Sometimes you may have to do a little bit with adding fractions together, but it's all fairly straightforward. So now we're going to go ahead and beat that on medium-low speed until smooth. Here's your 5-second warning before I turn on the stand mixer. Okay. I'm just getting I'll keep an eye on that, but I'm going to get the next ingredients ready. The ingredients ready for the next part. Okay. We'll give the bowl a quick scrape, but I think it might be just about where we want it to be. Whoa. Yeah, looking at that, I'm thinking it's about where we want it to be. So, I'm going to shut that off for the time being. We'll scrape off the beater bar just a little bit. See if we can put some of that back in. Okay. Now we're going to take the powdered sugar, milk, salt, and vanilla and add them in. So we've got our powdered sugar right here, 3/4 of a cup of this. That's a little bit more, that's a heaping 3/4 of a cup, but we can probably deal with that. And then that can go back up. Let's see, milk. Of course, I'm using skim milk for this. We need a tablespoon of that. That's a little more than a tablespoon, but it'll work. Salt, which I'm hoping my open salt will be enough. Will give me enough for the recipe. I need a 1/4 teaspoon of that. Oh yeah, plenty of it. That can go back up. We'll put that. Actually, we'll put both salts back in. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Once again, I'm using vanilla extract. It should do the job just fine. Perfect. Okay. Just a little bit of liquid over there. Should be able to give that just a quick wipe down. Perfect. Okay. Now we're going to beat that for 2 minutes until fluffy, but we'll stop to scrape the bowl as we need to. So we'll drop this down, and we'll get a timer ready for 2 minutes. We're going to let that beat for about 2 minutes, and I'm going to go get my drink. I'll give this a quick pause so I can scrape the top of the bowl a little bit. Okay. All right, we'll get back to it. I'm just bringing something down I'm going to need for the next step. Okay, now we can shut that off for the time being, but that time being won't last for long because the next thing we need to do is we need to add the flour mixture and beat at low speed for 30 seconds until just combined. So how am I going to pour this in at this kind of weird angle? Not even the pour shield's really going to help here. Let me see if I can get this turned off. There we go. I should be able to come in from the right side and pour this in. Perfect. Alright, we'll try to put a little bit more of that flour right back in. Okay, now we're going to beat that for about 30 seconds at low speed or until just combined. Whoa! Rud. Whoa! Let me see if I can lock that down. There we go. Okay. Alright, I think that's about enough out of you at this point. Let me give that, actually let's give that about another 10 seconds, I guess. Okay. That should be plenty of time. So, now that we've got that combined, now we need the baking sheets back in shot. We've got the baking sheet in shot, so what we're going to do now is we're going to take the dough and shape them into 2-inch balls, placing them about, what do they want? 1.5 inches apart on the prepared pans. But before we do that, we also need a little bit of a surface because we're going to need a small work surface. So what we're going to do with that is we're going to take the cup of granulated sugar and turn that, I don't think I want to put this right on the counter. Actually, you know what? I've got an idea of what I can do with it. I should be able to make a bowl with that. I should be able to use a bowl as my work surface there. That should work. Maybe put a little bit more there. Okay. Alright, quasi work surface created just off shot. So, the sugar can go back up. And now we're going to start rolling these sandies into balls. Unfortunately, I'm running into the same problem that I had with the... I think I'm running into the same problem here I had with the Touch of Death last month, where these don't seem like they're going to want to hold together for... Well, maybe they're holding together a little bit better now. Yeah, I think these are actually holding together fine so far. Now we'll roll that in the sugar. I'm also probably not going to get the 18 cookies that the recipe's calling for. Alright, so I've basically got a little bit of flow going here. Where off shot, I've got the cookie batter and the sugar that I'm rolling the cookies in. So maybe with this next one, I'll show you the workflow I've got going on here. So let's bring the camera over, even though it's going to make it a little bit awkward to do. Actually, maybe if I move it back like so, and tip the camera up, you can see what I'm doing. So we'll do one more with the workflow. So I'm taking some of the batter. It's taking me a little bit of doing, but I'm forming it together. Then I'm rolling it in the sugar. And finally, I'm putting it on the prepared baking sheet. So rather than bore you guys with rolling these cookies together, I wanted to show you the workflow so you at least saw what I was going for. We'll come back when all the cookies have been prepared. The recipe was supposed to bake 18 cookies. I only made 10, and I don't think these are 2-inch balls, but then I've always been kind of sucktacular. I did roll them in the sugar already. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom of a glass and lightly flatten each one down into a 1/4 inch thick disc. I've got my glass right here. I'm just going to flatten these all down very lightly, because I know they're going to crumble on me if I'm not careful. Actually, they're going to crumble on me a bit anyway. I don't think there's any help for that at this point. Yeah. I've got to be gentle with how hard I press on these. Actually, I can also probably play around a little bit with the space on here, since I've only got the 10 cookies. Yeah, these are going to come out really thick, but alright. I think that's probably about the best I can do with those. So now we're going to put those in the oven for 15 to 17 minutes until they're golden brown. Then we'll remove them from the oven and cool on the pan for 5 minutes. Then we'll move them over to a cooling rack to cool completely. So I'm going to move the camera slightly so I can put these in the oven. We'll set a timer for 17 minutes. And we'll come back when those come out of the oven. Now we're going to prepare the 2 different chocolates for dipping. I need my scissors, which are over here. So we're going to start off with the semi-sweet chocolate chips. We could start with either one of these. Cut that open. Make sure I've got a couple of clips handy. And, yep, okay. Got our pair of clips handy. So we'll start off with the semi-sweet chocolate chips. We need a cup of these. Easy does it. So if I grab these and a few that have been flying around. We'll throw these in the fridge, I think. Then we'll take 2 teaspoons of the shortening. Fortunately, I've got a 2 teaspoon measuring spoon right here. Probably should have. There we go. A little messy, but it'll work. And we'll get that out of the way for the time being. And what they're saying to do is to microwave them on 50% power for 60 seconds. I think having it at full power for 30 will amount to the same thing, but the way they're saying to do it is in 20-second increments, but once again, since we're at full power, we're going to modify for 10-second increments, and then we'll stir between each one. Okay. Okay. Put it in for another 10 seconds. Okay, trying to knock some of this chocolate off. Put it in for another 10 seconds. At least I'm pretty sure we're at full power. Where's the... Oh, here we go. Is there a way I can check the power that this is at? Power level can be pressed to verify the power level. Okay. Well, let's pull this out. We get a spatula out. At least I was assuming we were at full power. We might not be, though. Oop. I believe 10 is as high as it can go. Unfortunately, I don't have a way to check that. Maybe the 20-second increments might be fine. Although it seems like it's almost melted now. So let's give it another 20 seconds and that should be good to go. Okay, perfect. All right, so the milk chocolate's all melted. Now we're going to repeat that whole thing with the white chocolate chips. So I've got those right here. Scissors can go back. Easy does it. Okay. That can go toward the dishes once again. We'll clip the white chocolate chips in, put those in the fridge as well. Grab another 2 teaspoons of the shortening. Drop that in. Give my hands another quick wash. Shortening, once I find the lid, can go back up as well. Put that up there, I guess. We'll give this a quick stir. And then 20-second increments should work fine. Time cook. I wish I had another small scraper like this. The only other scrapers I've got now are the bigger ones. I'll give this a quick stir. Yeah, it seems like 20-second increments are working a lot better to melt this chocolate. Maybe I'll stop if I can... Maybe I'll stop when I'm out and about later today and see if I can find another smaller scraper like that. Okay. Looks like that's actually stirring, that's actually melting very well. I think one more 20-second interlude and we should be good to go. Cookies. Where do I want the cookies? I'll put them over here for the time being. I had a couple of other bags out for the chocolate chips that I decided I wasn't going to use for storage purposes. Let's give this a quick stir. And okay, yeah, we are good to go on that. So, I'll give this a quick little stir. Alright, so now we've got both of our chocolates. Both of the spoons can head for the dishes because I'll be washing those in the final cleanup. So now we're going to take the cookies, which I'm going to have just off shot. We're going to dip them on one side in the... Actually, which probably would be easier to come over to the white chocolate first, then the dark chocolate. But either way, what we're going to be doing with these is we're going to dip one side in the dark, then one side in the white, and bring it back over to the cooling rack to let it firm up. So I'm going to repeat that with every cookie. I'm not going to bore you guys with watching that. Then I'll let the chocolate firm up for probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Then I'll meet you guys over at my desk for the taste test. We're back at my desk for the taste test. The cookies weren't... The chocolate on the cookies wasn't firming up as much as I would have liked. So I actually threw it in the fridge for like 20 minutes to half an hour to help it firm up a little bit. The only problem was getting a cookie off the rack, off the cookie sheet, or off the baking rack essentially for the taste test, but I managed to lift one off. You can see on here that I actually made a slight V shape when I was dipping it in the two different types of chocolate. So we're going to see how this tastes. Obviously it's not going to be as good since I've had it, well, maybe not as good as the word isn't the word I want. It's definitely not as warm because I had it in the fridge letting the chocolate set a little bit more, but let's give this a taste and see what I think. Probably take a taste from each side, see if the different chocolates make a difference. And on the other side. There are two things I should mention right at the top of giving my thoughts for how these Sandies turned out. The first is that Sandies are not usually my go-to cookie when I'm in the mood for cookies. The second is that between white and dark and essentially milk chocolate, I tend to go for the white chocolate a little bit more. Having said that, though, these Sandies were actually really good. I was tasting a little bit of the pecan, or I think it was pecans in here. It might have been making it fall apart a little bit, but I don't think the consistency is going to be a big problem, especially if you end up sticking them in the fridge to help the chocolate set. I think that helped the cookies set a little bit more as well. So it might be something to consider if the chocolate isn't firming up as fast as you would like. But that's another episode of Mystical Munchies in the books. Next week we're into a new cookbook, but I'll have more on that next week during the end of May recap. As for the games, we're going to be busy this weekend on the channel. This weekend we'll see the end of the spring campaign in Arkham Horror, the card game. First up tomorrow, the Dreamers will be venturing into their last scenario as they venture where the gods dwell. Then on Monday, the Waking Investigators will face their last scenario as they come face to face with the Weaver of the Cosmos. Then on Wednesday, we're going to be playing Mag 23, going back to our playthrough of Mag 23 Guadalcanal from Historic Wings, for what I hope is a very short video because we've got the win locked up for the week in that one. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.